Let's get to the ceasefire talks. We're talking Ukraine here. President Trump says getting a deal done in Ukraine is very important. Watch this.
Ukraine has agreed to it, and hopefully Russia will agree to it. We're going to meet with them later on today and tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to wipe out a deal. But I think the ceasefire is very important. If we can get Russia to do it, that'll be great. If we can't, we just keep going on, and people are going to get killed, lots of people.
Is Zelenskyy invited back to the White House?
Sure, absolutely.
Mr. President, will you talk to Vladimir Putin about this ceasefire deal? Do you think you need to have a conversation with him to get the Russians to agree?
I'll talk to Vladimir Putin, yeah.
When will
I
you
want to
talk
get,
to him?
look, that's the other, it takes two to tango, as they say, right? So hopefully he'll also agree.
It takes two to tango. You got to get the Russians to agree to this. The gentleman on the right-hand side of the screen is Senator Mike Rounds, Republican senator. Getting the Russians to agree is going to be a very heavy lift, isn't it, Senator?
I think it will be. I like the idea of getting to a ceasefire. I think that's a step in the right direction, and we all want to see the bloodshed ending. The real question is how do we put together an enforceable ceasefire, one that longer-term peace and so forth requires that Russia participate, but that we can also be assured that there will be stability for Ukraine, and that means an enforceable ceasefire, an enforceable long-term plan. And the question there is whether or not Russia would abide by it.
Does Russia really need a ceasefire? Are they in trouble domestically, their economy and their troops?
We know right now that this has been a lot tougher on Russia than they would like to suggest. Simply the loss of life alone is significant. We also know that what Mr. Putin wants is to literally take back what was part of the Soviet Union to begin with. Whether or not he can claim a victory or not back home or not is debatable yet. What we do want to make sure is that Ukraine has some stability in the future, and that means that they're going to have assurances from us and our European neighbors that whatever they agree to, we will enforce. And you know, the bigger fear here is what do our European neighbors think about the way that this has been done? Will they support us in it, and will they be a part of it? I think the president has the right idea when he says he wants a ceasefire now. Bringing everybody to the table is something that I think is a step in the right direction. I applaud Secretary of State Rubio for getting the first part of this completed, but the real part, the challenging part, is going to be how do we create an enforceable ceasefire with Mr. Putin in Russia. That's something that is going to be very, very challenging.
Senator, the Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, he was on the program earlier today, and he said tariffs are vital for national security. Watch this.
Steel and aluminum is fundamental for our national security. I mean, we can't be in a war and rely on steel and aluminum from some other country. I mean, it's just not reasonable. So the president wants steel and aluminum in America. And let me be clear, nothing's going to stop that until we've got a big, strong, domestic steel and aluminum capability. National security rises above all other things.
Senator, Mr. Lutnick said, look, the tariffs on steel and aluminum, they stay on until we've got a strong domestic industry. I put it to you, Senator, that's going to take a long time.
That is going to take a long time. And in the meantime, Canada has been an ally and a friend. Steel and aluminum, we would love to have more of that being done in our country, and we understand that the president really does believe that we can achieve that by bringing it back into the United States. But getting there is going to create some instability, and that's what we're seeing right now in the markets. It's also a matter of how long it takes us to actually get our domestic industries actually operating again. And in the meantime, you know, Canada is going to look at this and say, we've been a good, stable partner, we're tough traders and so forth, but come back to the negotiating table. And I really think that's what this all amounts to is I think the president would love to renegotiate the agreements that are already in place, and where they're treating us poorly with regard to any tariffs on our products that we simply have to have fixed. That's a step in the right direction if we can get a better trading deal out of it with our friends and our allies. And Canada most certainly is one of our friends, and they are a good ally, but they're a tough trading partner.
Got it. Senator Mike Rounds, thanks for joining us, sir. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.